Hello, my name is Amy Buckmaster, CEO of the Redwood City San Mateo County Chamber of Commerce. On behalf of the Board of Directors and its members, it's my honor to welcome you all to the Chamber's 50th anniversary of the Progress Seminar. It's hard to believe this event began in July of 1969 in Lake Tahoe. The breakout sessions were held in attendees' guest rooms, food was prepared by the Chamber staff, and in true Progress Seminar form, conversation, discussion, debates, ideas, solutions, and most important, business, government, and community collaboration of San Mateo County was born.
I never miss the Progress Seminar. It's amazing.
It's always dynamic discussions, interesting topics, and fun people.
It's an institution in this county.
It is constantly evolving.
It is a massive retreat, taking 100 people or so out of the county, giving them an opportunity to interact, socialize, network, and have candid discussions about key issues.
Not only government leaders there, but we have business leaders, so we have nonprofit leaders. Everyone's at the table at the Progress Seminar, so I think you can get to the solutions a lot quicker.
You get to know school board members, you get to meet other council members from different areas.
It brings together people from both sides of the aisle. It represents technology, business, government.
They get to know each other in a relaxed environment, and they look at each other differently.
We can learn from each other, we can talk to each other in a casual setting, and just be ourselves.
It really is a reflection of the county itself, right? It's a diverse group of people.
It's just a kind of a celebration of San Mateo County.
Everybody comes, they stay, we talk about a variety of public policy issues.
But to be at a place where you can focus and meet people who can help you do your job better, can give you ideas, who really are gonna maybe be important to you for the rest of your life.
The networking is second to none.
And I think we all know you can have someone 10 miles down the road working and you don't see each other or communicate as much, but when you're out of town, you can come up with some great ideas.
There are some important conversations that happen that actually turn into some solutions.
Coming from the North County, I didn't know as many people from the South County. In the first year or two, just going to the Progress Seminar, I met a ton of people.
The best way to develop relationships with your local political leaders, state and even federal, all of them are there. And I remember, again, early on in my career, still to this day, 25 years later, I still have those relationships with those political leaders. Now, maybe they're in a different position or somebody might have moved on to a different company, but we are all still in the game.
I was on a panel for economic development. It was international economic development. And on that panel was Mike King from San Carlos. And it's from that experience at the Progress Seminar that he and I became friends. And it ended up that he and I were both later locally elected officials, he in San Carlos and me in Redwood City. We were able to work together and get things done that other people said couldn't be done.
You are talking to people face to face, in some cases folks who you don't necessarily see eye to eye with, but you're able to sort of work through some challenges or work through some issues.
We don't always get along here, and that's okay, but we have a way to communicate.
You don't see this everywhere. You don't see this kind of engagement from people. You don't see this kind of commitment. You don't see this kind of openness to talk about issues. It really reminds me, my grandfather was mayor of our town in New Jersey, and one of the things that his famous quote was, he said, look, we may disagree at city council, but at the end of the day, we're still gonna buy beers together and talk.
Really, all things are local. It's what is your neighbor thinking? What is the person around the block thinking that you know well, and that you might disagree with, but how do you get together and talk to them anyway?
We check our partisanship and our party affiliation at the door when you go to the Progress Seminar.
We all really try to get along, and we all collaborate. And if somebody has a great idea over in this part of the county, somebody will pick it up in another part of the county. And the next thing you know, we've got a committee going.
A personal highlight for me was an opportunity I had to participate in a panel with John Diaz from the San Francisco Chronicle and one of my assembly colleagues at the time, a Republican, Kristen Olson. And we were able to talk about sort of the tone of bipartisanship and creating the conditions for working across the aisle. And we were actually able to become closer as colleagues, and actually some of the things we talked about that day we were able to translate in Sacramento. And that is really meaningful for me, to be able to demonstrate publicly to my Peninsula colleagues how we can work across the aisle in a spirit of bipartisanship.
We don't have a large city like San Francisco or Oakland with a mayor that's kind of the figurehead.
I don't know if it's because we have 20 cities and you just have to get to learn about the county from north to south, but it just seems like everybody collaborates on issues. They don't fight over them. They're always looking for a solution.
Politics is a relationships business, I've learned, and you build relationships, sometimes at the bar, sometimes on the panel.
One of the most interesting conversations I had was when State Senator Simitian at that time were having a conversation in the lobby of the Hyatt at 2 a.m. about what it's like working across the aisle. And it was just a phenomenal conversation that you could not have anywhere else.
People that live here and work here, they really want to do good work. They really want to do good work. And so everybody supports everybody. It's really cool, you know?
So the Progress Seminar, to me, in some respects, is all about family. And in fact, one of the years, one of my sons actually attended, and which was a great experience for me to have him there, to something that I had been going to for many, many years, and then to watch him as he matured and became an adult and in business, participate in the same thing that I've been doing.
My wife Jessica and I introduced our twin boys, Liam and Landon, to the Progress Seminar last year, so they've already got one under their belt, so the tradition continues.
I remember the Buckmaster family, actually, I was new to the community. And so when I got involved in the chamber and they brought me in, they didn't bring me into just the chamber. They brought me into their family. And watching our daughters, who are now 23 and 18, they've seen them since they were born. They were at the early Progress seminars. It is business, but it is family. And I am so grateful to Amy and Larry and Joan and all of the family for bringing me in.
I remember a lot of people who've been at the Progress seminars, certainly more recently people like Mike Giari from the Port. Going back, I think of Don Warren, certainly, who was very involved in Redwood Shores in the early years.
People like Mike Nevin were there, and I knew him. He always dragged me into everything. I sat on every board and commission for Mike Nevin when he was on the board, and he made sure he introduced me to just about everybody.
I remember Mike going around the room and literally introducing every single person in the room and telling a little something biographical about each person. And that was actually the first time I remember that, he called me out for my involvement in getting involved in civic life on the peninsula. And that was a big deal to me at that time. I remember that.
Mike Nevin was always engaged, flailing his hands, including you in things, putting his arm around you, introducing you to people. He just absolutely made it so much fun. And he always wanted to have everybody be included in everything.
For me, being one of the co-chairs of the Progress Seminar is continuing the legacy of Larry Buckmaster and all of the people that have been involved in the Progress Seminar for so long.
I think my favorite memory of the lunch speakers was Willie Brown. And it was something that I took away from him. And he said, never let anybody take any notes when we met with them.
Yes.
I can't remember a thing we talked about.
Yeah.
But I can remember what your shoes, what you were wearing, what your shoes were, and what hat you were wearing.
Yeah, Willie was memorable for me as well.
Had all his books ready for us to buy and sign. And it was just such a candid conversation with somebody who's an icon in our region.
He's quite the character, and I do remember him being accessible, and we had a great conversation.
Yeah, we had some good lunch speakers.
Lots of good speakers.
He was fun.
I didn't know anyone. It was my first Progress seminar, and there was this guy, Omar Aman, who was like, hey, let's go out and, I don't drink, but we can smoke cigars. And I said, fantastic, I'll go smoke a cigar. And we sat down, and he told me about what it was like being a Muslim that was the mayor of a city.
Probably the one that stands out is the one who always stood up first. That's John Lee.
John Lee.
John Lee.
John Lee.
John Lee. He came to every Progress seminar.
I think he would always stand up and ask the first question.
In fact, it finally got to the place where it's like everybody else just sat down and waited.
We're running out of time, but if maybe there's a question from the audience, anybody? Usually John Lee has a question, but I don't see him.
Sometimes a little off the wall, but I mean, who doesn't love John Lee? He was an institution himself.
First Progress seminar after he passed away, I forget who it was, but somebody got up and said, "John Lee here," and the whole place went crazy, just in his memory.
John embodied what the Progress Seminar is all about. You can disagree, you can have different views, and you think about things in a different way, but you do not have to be disagreeable.
First-time attendees really are going to be in for a first-in-a-lifetime experience.
Bring some good ideas with you, and bring your ears so that you can also listen.
If you keep an open mind about the topics that are being discussed, you participate in the conversations, and you be open to meeting new people with different ideas, you're going to have a great time, and you're going to learn a lot, and also you'll contribute.
I would say meet as many people as you can. Don't be shy about introducing yourself.
I remember being a newbie when I first attended, and I didn't know anyone. And what I really appreciated was people came up to me, said hello, asked me if it was my first time. Fast forward a number of years, and I saw someone that I knew that was active in the community, that I knew from other boards, but he didn't know a lot of people. And I went up and we had just a fabulous conversation. A few months after that, he came to me and he said, "You know, I was thinking of just not being involved in the community anymore. And the fact that you came up to me, that you took the time, that we had a conversation, it truly made a difference."
Go to the breakouts. Don't ditch them and go play golf. Go to the breakouts, because you're going to be bound to learn something new. You really are.
Be part of the solution. Be part of whatever it is that it's going to be, because this stuff does not get solved overnight. It's not going to be one meeting and it's going to get done. But be part of what that progress is. Whatever ends up being there, don't just ignore the process.
You could actually draw a line back to some conversations that were had in panels, substantive conversations, that eventually either became law or became projects. Those conversations started at the Progress Seminar.
As the housing crisis was coming upon us, I talked about it. At that time, we did the State of the County address, and I was president of the board that year. And I got a chance to talk about housing and how important it was, and that we should all kind of get together and really put that #1 on our focus for the year. And then we've done that at the Board of Supervisors, and we've now got hundreds of people involved in Home for All.
So I think the key thing and the most important for any Progress attendee, they have to go to my cocktail party.
You know, my first lesson learned, don't go hard the first night on the free cocktails. Yeah. After my second Progress seminar, I learned my lesson. Well, maybe it was my 10th or 15th Progress seminar. I learned to pace myself.
When you talk about funny stories at the Progress Seminar, I think there were probably at least one every year.
Yeah, but I can't repeat those.
You're not still recording, are you?
I don't know. Well, most of them I don't want to talk about because they occurred in the bar after the sessions had ended.
It was probably the last couple cocktails I did not need.
Either we're really old or we can't remember half of them. It's probably that one.
I can't think of one that I can share with you on air.
I mean, we've cried together,
Yep.
we've laughed together, we've yelled at each other. I mean, that's just you and I in the first 5 minutes.
I was going to say.
You know, I'm not going to comment.
Make sure you ask us who's the best dancer.
Ben Paul. Ben Paul, oh man, you got to get him going.
Lorraine and a whole gang of us just got out on the dance floor one night. We didn't care. We were having such a good time.
Diane Howard and Kate Comfort Carr, Energizer Bunnies. They'll dance the whole night from the minute the music starts till the minute it stops.
Thank God. You know what I say? Thank God they didn't have social media back when we first started.
One of our dear friends decided to announce at the Sunday morning session that I was engaged.
Mark Simon, as he commenced the program, announced to the 200 or 300 people there, he said, "Welcome to the Roseanne Faust and Jim Hartnett engagement party."
And it sort of took us totally by surprise.
I'm sure I was red in the face, you know, a little embarrassed.
I think about that moment and it was like, whoa.
And you know, it's interesting. I mean, everybody knew you, but then
I don't know that.
Here,
I think they thought we were married.
Well,
I know. Yeah.
I'm glad we're not.
Thank you for sharing 48 hours of your life with all of us in the 50th anniversary celebration. Take this time, listen, build new relationships, take risks, seek solutions, and celebrate San Mateo County. Thank you.
Happy 50th, Chamber. 50 more to
and
come.
the Progress Seminar, and to all the attendees, 50 more.
You want us to go on?
No, that's it.
I want.
That's it.